Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Mario, and you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it. We've got a really special episode for you today, but before any of that, joining me, as always, just letting every brand know that every day that they don't reach out to Tasha for a marketing strategy, they're literally losing money.
I mean, what are you doing?
Funko Pop are reaching out to her soon because her AMG mock-up of Tasha in that race suit with Winnie was iconic. Funko Pop, get to her now. She said she's very, very kindly taking a break from watching Home Alone to be here. It is the one, the only Tasha.
Hello, Mario. Hi, everybody at home. Yeah. You're really right, though. I definitely had to take a break from Home Alone. I was like, time to podcast. But I'm excited for today because I just can't wait to talk to our guest. Yeah.
If you are joining us on YouTube, you probably are already aware of this. If you're joining us on audio, you might have heard her laugh a little bit, but we've got our very first guest. This is where like the clapping and the things come in. We don't have them yet because we're not the main pod. Yeah. Like they still make us do the thing. Yeah. But we have from the amazing the perfect moment to say the huh. And I say the from the amazing Instagram page, the amazing Lou, joining us today, it is Rashi. Hey, Rashi, how are you?
Thank you so much. I am very excited. I feel so nice because you guys are already like huge celebrities. I'm like, oh my God,
she must be mistaken.
You got the wrong,
You got the wrong co-host.
But your platform, like, everyone knows about it, right? Whoever I speak to, I always recommend, which is the Formula One podcast. You know, everyone has one now. So I always recommend yours because to be honest, I do not even listen to a lot of others. Like, I'm not even kidding. So I feel
I'm going to cry.
Yeah. I want to cry.
Thank you for listening to our podcast today. That's it. That's all we needed. Yeah.
It's mutual. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. No, this is so exciting. Like, you're one of the first content creators that I followed, since getting into F1. So it's actually kind of crazy. It's like full circle moment, like that we're all just like sitting here talking now. Definitely. So I think that for me is just like one of the things about being, I guess, an F1 content creator myself is how like tight-knit the community is and how quickly it is to sort of make new connections and like ones that I think you would never even, think that were possible. So yeah, it's crazy to hear you say that. And it's obviously also crazy just to be here experiencing this with you. So I'm really excited for this combo today.
Likewise. I think definitely, I mean, it is generally difficult for, a lot of people to connect because there are a lot of weirdos on all these platforms. So I'm just happy that, I've been able to interact with so many amazing people. And of course, you guys are some of them. So I'm just really grateful
this
for
is
that.
By far the best episode already.
Yeah. That's why I said, I'm like, we could just wrap this up now. Thank you for coming. Thank you for everybody at home listening.
The other day, Tasha, let's talk about the two ways that this got started, because the first way that this got started is just being a fan of what Rashi does and her page and all the work that she puts into. But the other side was so much thirst on Twitter.
What do you mean?
So much. So I was a lot of people have a lot of opinion. No, not you necessarily, but a lot of people have a lot of opinions with regards to Lewis Hamilton, his fashion sense, what he wears, when he wears it, what he doesn't do, what he doesn't wear. And I just sent a message to Tasha and I was like, Tasha, maybe we turn the thirst into something else and we actually have a conversation about it. And Tasha went and got a guest because I know
my immediate thought was like, I need to talk to Rashi about this. If we're talking Lewis Hamilton fashion, there's literally only one person.
I can't talk to Mario about this. Not for more than 15 minutes. Like, I need someone to
before your eyes start glazing over. You're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Yeah.
So she went and got.
I'm gonna start crying if you guys just continue saying all of that.
So we literally got the perfect guest for our first episode, and I just want to say that, like, I think fashion is something I really like and it's part of my life, but I really the level that Tasha knows and is educated on it and is passionate about it. I'm just glad that we can zone in on a topic that's like the cross section between Formula One and like a passion of hers, and obviously a passion of yours as well. Yeah. So I think this episode is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But with that, we got to get some of the like the cookie cutter stuff out of the way for the people that aren't aware of what you do, how you do it, when you started. Talk to us a little bit about your platform, and just educate the people on what you do.
So, of course, I am amazing Lou. I just laugh about that name all the time because I created this page when I was literally a teenager. So yeah, that's where the name comes from. Yeah. And of course, I break down what Lewis is wearing on and off track and all of that. So, and you'll mostly find me posting all of that on Instagram. So, that name originally started from Twitter, but I was just like a fan posting, fighting with the rest of the fans and all of that, the normal F1 Twitter stuff. That's how I started. That's how I started. And then moving on to Instagram, I was just like a normal fan page, just posting Lewis's day-to-day moments or whatever. But then when he really started to show up, like wearing all this fancy jewelry, everyone was talking about it, saying all sorts of nasty things. Why is he wearing this? Why is he wearing that? So, of course, like his personality anyway, like really attracted me. I was a Formula One fan. Like I started watching the sport back in 2011. So that's when I actually started supporting him. But when I started posting about what he's wearing was back in 2018. So because that was the time when, he really started to show up and his personality was really out there, as opposed to like, because he was at McLaren, he wasn't really doing a lot off track. So that's when he started to show up. And that's when I decided, of course, like, it would be interesting to post what he is wearing, because I was originally inspired by a similar page which Rihanna has. And I'm a Rihanna fan as well. So I always, I was always interested in what she's wearing and all of that. So she had her own, this fan page. And I was like, I need to do something similar for Lewis. Because I was very interested to know what he's wearing, like what sneakers he's wearing and all of that. So that's when I started posting about all of that. And now it's become like, I won't really say it's become huge after Drive to Survive, but definitely I've gained a lot more audience and interest in what he is wearing, from his socks to his, laces to every single thing. Everybody wants to know about everything he's wearing. So that's how it started, and it's become like a huge thing now.
Yeah.
So you started 2011 watching Formula One, but 2018 is when you started the page.
Correct.
So
yes.
what made you start watching Formula One?
I think it's a really interesting story, because I never really liked that sport. I was aware of something like that, being telecast.
Were you into any
TV.
sports?
No, I think naturally living in India, everyone watches cricket here. So I wasn't really a big fan, but when sports is concerned, I was always watching cricket because everyone around me was watching it. So that, plus I was a basketball player back in school, because I'm a little tall. So everyone was like, "Oh, you would be fit for basketball." But then I really liked it, so I played it for 3 years in school. But then awesome. I wasn't like such a huge sports fan, but I was just like aware of a couple of things. So my dad was a huge fan, huge Ferrari and McLaren fan. So that's how I even like started watching with him. I was like, "What are you even watching? Like, what kind of sports is this? I mean, why would you watch this? It's so boring." Yeah. So and then at that time, like India had its own race. Like 2011 was when India had its first Formula One race as well. So I mean, that entire buzz was everywhere in the city, and a lot many things were happening. So naturally, I became a fan. I used to watch it with my dad, and then I attended the race that year as well here in New Delhi. So I mean, that's what got me.
Do you remember who won?
It was Sebastian Vettel.
Yes, it was.
I mean, I cannot forget because I watched the race in 2013 as well, and he won his last championship there, and I was there watching it live. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that's awesome.
I can never forget that. But yeah, I mean, that's how it started, and then now we're here. Now I cannot stand even like 2 seconds of watching any of these races.
That's a move right there, yeah. So I was actually going to ask you, so with your platform and everything that you've been able to do since 2018, like how has it changed your life? Like any opportunities that have come along or connections that you've made that you kind of, wouldn't have been able to do without this platform? What has been kind of the thing that has really made this sort of just like a thing that you love doing and stay passionate about?
I think very first thing was when I started, there wasn't a lot of visibility, right? Like people were interested in what he's wearing, but my page did not have like a huge audience. So I did not have like a large visibility. I was in touch with Lewis's stylist back then. I think it was Alicia Serino. She was, I think, one of Lewis's long-time stylists. So back then she used to, help me out. So I think at that time she was one of my biggest like fashion connections. Like not a lot of brand folks and not a lot of PR folks from these brands were following me back then. But she was definitely there, helping me out, figure out what he's wearing. Because of course, like a lot of the times he used to wear custom stuff, he still does.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to, get in touch with the brand directly and
right.
know what he's wearing, right? Like that's how his stylist used to help me out. So back then, definitely not a lot of visibility on my page. But I know a lot of people who followed me back then, and I'm still in touch with them, right? Just like Lewis fans in general. So that's what I appreciate the most, right? Like through this page, I've got to know so many amazing folks, just in general, which is like the highlight of how I've built that platform so far. And now, of course, like a lot of brands, a lot of PR folks from the brands are following the page to see, what Lewis is wearing. Like whenever Lewis wears their brand, so they would obviously, they like, comment or whatever, like reply to my stories whenever I'm resharing the posts or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, it's a huge thing now. It wasn't as big back then. So at that time I didn't have any stress, any pressure to post what he's wearing. I posted in my own time because I was just like interested and I wanted to do and post every single thing he's wearing. But now it's like, oh my god, if I do not post what he's wearing, I'm gonna have like at least a million messages waiting
DMs,
for me on it's crazy. But yeah, I mean,
it used to be for the love of the game. Now it's like, now you got the pressure.
Now it's like my second job, pretty much. Like I have to do it.
I mean, I think that was kind of my next question for you was like, I guess, how do you manage all of this? Because it is still just exclusively you who runs your platform. And is it just on Instagram? Do you have other, like a web page or anything where you're planning to do things, or so it's just Instagram?
Yes.
And how do you get the pictures?
Right now. How do you get the pictures? Pictures of Lewis.
Yes.
Oh, it's just the usual sources, Getty or like motorsport images, all of that. So I mean, it's so funny because when I went to the Qatar GP this year, the Mercedes photographer, I think, who's Lewis's photographer as well. He was there, and I saw him in the pit lane during the pit lane walk. And then I told him, listen, I mean, I'm so grateful for your photos because I mean, Mercedes posts and Lewis posts on his stories and stuff like. Yeah. Those are the first versions of the photos which helped me like figure out what he's wearing in the first place. So I was like, thank you so much for posting all of that. Because I mean, without these photos, like I literally cannot figure out what he's wearing.
Right. That's crazy.
So if you were like, is your plan? Let me ask you a toughie. What happens when Lewis Hamilton retires?
I knew you were gonna ask that. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, so far I have not planned to do anything like big with my platform. Whereas like a lot of people have told me I should, expand in some sort of a way and, create like maybe some different type of content. And I've thought about it, but I just like not got enough, headspace to really plan it out. But when he retires, I feel like I'm going to retire with him.
We're both going into the sunset. We are both going into this. We're sailing together into the sunset.
Jersey up, yeah.
They're hanging the jersey.
She's like, I'm done.
Amazing
New Jersey in the rafters.
Yeah, I might just do that. So I mean, that's what in my head right now. But then I look back at the last 2 years where I've like really gained visibility, and the number of followers that I have and the kind of people who are following me. I feel like maybe I should, expand and do something which is different than what I've been doing. Definitely that does cross my mind. But then I feel like I created the page to honor Lewis. So it's like if he retires, I am going with him.
That's badass.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that.
No, and like I think, and Tasha, you can probably talk about this as well. Like it's different when you have an idea and it's something you want to do, and you do it because you still love it, or you do it because like you're still doing it because of what you started, and then that gets like forcing that to change into something else just because I can, like that's not as I guess fulfilling as doing something that you just love to do and are good at what you do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of staying. Yeah. I mean, every hobby that you have doesn't have to be monetized. I think that's like a big conversation kind of happening on the internet as we, live in this capitalist hellscape of, trying to like, merge our passions with just making a living. So there is always that temptation to monetize everything that you're doing. But I think, especially in your case, Rashi, the fact that you're like basically archiving Lewis's style through the years, you're a resource, like you're a whole resource that people can look to see what he was wearing. It's a time capsule. I actually was going through your page and looking through like 2018 and just like amazed at how much his style was a snapshot of that era, but like how much has changed. So yeah, I think staying passionate about it is like super important because, if it is a lot of giving your time. This is 24 weekends out of the year. Man has on 4 different outfits sometimes. You know what I mean? Like that's dedication.
If you do this for Max, it's him in his uniform. That's
it's the same thing. So there's so much passion I think that you have to have. And I feel like Lewis makes it a little bit easy though, because he's a fun guy to follow the fashion for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even think I would have ever been, interested to break down what someone else is wearing in the sport. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is even interested in doing that. So, I mean, yeah.
Well,
and to be honest, like for me, I feel like I am more like I'm better at documenting stuff, like, behind the scenes stuff rather than putting myself out there and, monetizing from my original content. Of course, there are like many different ways to create content and, get the stuff out of it. But I feel like what I'm doing right now, I'm good at doing that because I mean, my main job, my main expertise is a lot in social media marketing. So I
Oh,
feel like
okay.
I feel like I put those uh, skills and everything I
Skills.
know
Mhm.
to all of what I'm doing on the page. And so that's, why I feel like maybe I probably might not even expand anything on the page. Like I'll just
Mhm.
continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I kind of wanted to talk about sort of the intersection of fashion, business, and sports, essentially. We're seeing a ton of like athletes. Obviously, Lewis is in there, but just in general, across the board, we're seeing like so many athletes becoming brand ambassadors, sitting front row at fashion shows, having fashion moments. I think Mario and I talked about like the NBA, the tunnel is a huge thing that, just takes over social media. You have in tennis, there's athletes that Yannick Sinner is a great example for me. He got custom Gucci tennis bags made and wore them for like Wimbledon. I mean, gorgeous, right? Collaborations. But to me, I find that it's interesting that athletes are kind of taking like center stage a little bit in fashion. And I was curious if maybe you had any like insight or thoughts on that as well, just sort of how we're seeing like so many models, actors, singers, not necessarily take a back page, but sort of share the stage a little bit with athletes.
I think it's interesting, right? Like it is very different and an evolved strategy. Like not a lot of people were doing sports marketing or like they're like, yeah, I mean, take Serena, right? I think recently it
Right.
was announced she's getting the fashion icon award. So that's
Yes.
huge because I mean everyone remembers how she was hated on for whatever she was doing because it was
Mm-hmm.
different than the traditional way of how sports athletes are viewed. So I think that's definitely like if uh, an athlete is not I mean, indulging themselves in these kind of activities, like these marketing activities, fashion, and all of this, I think they're definitely missing out on a lot, right? Because I think there's so much that an athlete brings to the table
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to their audiences, right? The exposure they have. Because I'm just taking an example, like for in India, right? Cricket is huge. Now, if all of these athletes, they get tied up with a lot of brands and do all of this stuff um, uh, what say for example what Lewis is doing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge opportunity for these brands to get a newer audience, right? And
Mhm.
you can see with Formula One they recently partnered with Puma,
Yeah.
and of course I feel like their collaboration with ASAP did not hit
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
audiences, but I feel like there's definitely a lot of potential, right? Like with H&M, I see so many folks wearing those
Yeah. The
boring
F1
Formula
merch.
One H&M t-shirts. So
Right.
I feel like sports and fashion definitely it brings a very different and a newer audience for a sport. With,
Yeah.
and of course, if it's linked to a specific athlete, huge potential. Good for the athlete, good for the sport, good for the brand. So there's literally wins everywhere. So I
Right.
think if somebody like there's so many racers in Formula One, right? Like they're not doing anything. They're not
Yes.
doing anything at all with their platform, with their audiences. I mean, the Drive to Survive, I am so sure like a lot of these racers have crazy followers, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
people want to know what they're doing. So if they're not leveraging the platform they have right now, I think that's definitely a miss on so many levels.
I agree with that so much. That was kind of my follow-up question for you because I feel sort of similarly like when you see the numbers that these athletes are pulling to backtrack slightly, I think when it comes to fashion, a lot of these male dominated industries, I think look at fashion as a very frivolous, kind
Mm.
of throwaway, it's very feminine, whatever. To be interested in it, I think that when you start to see the numbers though, like the business side of fashion and like the impressions, like you said, like brands can receive just from like social media posts. Lewis in particular, like there's some numbers that have come out recently about just like him appearing, how much that equates to in dollars. So I think there's like an opportunity to actually use fashion. I call it like a Trojan horse sort of approach. I think Zendaya and Law Roach kind of talked about this a while ago, back when they were kind of strategizing how they would get her a bit higher up in ranking in Hollywood. And they used red carpets as that moment to be like, okay, well, if I'm not getting these roles that I want now, like I'm going to use the red carpets to like raise my profile. And suddenly she's an A-list actress. You know, everything that they had hoped to achieve through fashion ended up happening. Lots of ambassadorships. She pretty much can do whatever she wants and choose whatever projects that she wants.
Exactly.
So I think the roadmap, if you pay attention to somebody like that, I think the roadmap is there to see how you can use something quote unquote frivolous to build yourself into an empire personally, and then also market like the sport that you're a part of, which I feel like Lewis, to me, I feel like he's really found that like groove.
That strategy. He's nailed it.
Yeah. So that was kind of my next thing, was like with Formula One, obviously Lewis is doing his thing. He's, you know, for a long time has been kind of taking that role as somebody who's like not afraid to try to express themselves through fashion. In the paddock, you definitely see, you know, I feel like Pierre, Joe, you know, guys like that are kind of playing and dabbling a little bit in fashion as well. But overall, I think Formula One and the culture of Formula One is still kind of has a long way to go with their attitude toward fashion. You know what I mean? Like because of the not being interested in it. So yeah, that was sort of my next follow-up, was just more like, what do you think Formula One can do to embrace it? And I guess in an organic sort of way.
I think what they really need to do is like deep dive, right? Like, for example, business of fashion, dig down those numbers where Lois's outfit made that impact through just like those media impressions. They really need to dig down those numbers and analyze the data to understand like the numeric, like the value that it generates, right?
Yes.
And I think maybe, of course, like the sport has come a long way from when I started watching. They did not even actively post anything on social media. So there was a time when they weren't doing anything on social. So I mean, they've definitely improved, but there's still a long way to go, because these individual teams, for example, right, I feel like they also limit their drivers to certain things. For example, Alpha Tauri or Ferrari, right? Like their drivers literally cannot do anything. Maybe even Red Bull, like they can't do anything, right? Like they're gonna wear whatever the sponsors they have. For example, Ferrari, like they did both the drivers did something with Giorgio Armani, right? But I literally, it was so boring. I cannot recall what that campaign even was. Like if you did something with, exactly, like you did something with Armani, you had such a huge opportunity to do something, but there was literally nothing. And of course, like Charles has so much potential. We all know he has the personality, but I literally cannot recall any of these big moments that he might have been part of. So so that is what they need to do. Like they need to break free from all these ancient strategies, ideologies to like market their own brands and be like. I feel like Ferrari feels like they don't really have to do anything. Like they're Ferrari, like they don't have to do all of this, but they have to because they have such a young following for their drivers, right? Like there's so many fans, Charles fans and Carlos fans. Like do something about that. So I think definitely they really need to dig down that whatever is being talked about on socials. I don't think they're doing enough of research.
I agree. I think one area that I really enjoy, to bring it like to sort of what you were saying, where like the teams limit, what their drivers can wear. It is refreshing seeing like Lewis be able to kind of express himself however, but you also, I feel like you see that kind of trickle down the whole team, right? So like George last year when he first got to the team versus George this year is a whole different vibe. much more
Definitely.
relaxed, still very preppy, but like put together in a different way. I would say even Mick, you kind of see him with his like open shirts and the hair isn't like, very like
the vibe he has going on his Instagram currently.
Oh yes, with his girlfriend.
Really love it.
I love it. I love it.
I mean,
it's
I feel like we were all waiting to see that side of him, and it's finally there.
It's finally there, and I love that. I guess as overall, like with Tommy, right? Because that's one of their big sponsors, and Mercedes, just like seeing kind of the way that their relationship has allowed all of the drivers on the team to kind of express themselves individually, and you kind of like you said, you see the impressions on social media from that. When George stopped wearing hair gel, it was like Armageddon on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody was like, oh my God, he looks so different. And it's like, yeah, just like these small, like little changes of just being more relaxed and being more, feeling more comfortable and not so like rigid into like these fashion rules has paid dividends, I think, for their team and for Mercedes. And I feel like Lewis had a kind of a hand in that.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, whenever Lewis wears his Timberlands, right? Like, everyone's talking about it, right? Like the brand itself is getting an uplift in their engagement numbers, in their impression numbers.
Right.
And probably a lot of people are going and buying those boots as well. So I'm like, there's a lot happening that, these teams and a lot of these people working behind these teams are not realizing.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Mario?
I think a lot that sets Lewis apart in comparison to the other drivers, obviously not just the age thing, but it looks like Lewis keeps a very, very good would almost be an understatement, but keeps an incredible group of people around him that clearly have his trust, whether it's stylists, whether it's the people who are training him. Like it looks like he has a super good just a really good team around him, because all these looks aren't him, obviously, right? He's got his own personal fashion, but a lot of these looks are his team providing it to him, understanding what, obviously not just how he would look or how he would look good, also like something that is in line with his brand. And like, I think that's one thing that in other sports, I've also seen the athletes that do the best in getting their brand out and like being different are athletes that like ask for help and find really not successful, really God, I hate saying good, but really good people at whether it's marketing, accomplished, really ingenious with regards to like how to move in these different markets that you have. Like Almave, he's moved so well within a market that has nothing to do with him. Like, and I think all of that is he relies on the right people to do all these things, is I think what sets him apart to like the rest of the grid. And like both of you were mentioning, like it trickled down to George and it trickled down to Mick. Also with George, I think if you can't convince me with George that Carmen and Lewis didn't like intervention him. Like Carmen, the first thing she thought when she saw George's in Mercedes, she's like, finally, I have someone on my side.
Right.
Finally, we can talk to him. Like, finally, it's not just the partner. Now it's also the teammate. Like, I think Carmen and Lewis we're like, you've got so much, but we need to do something about it, you know?
The potential,
so I think so much potential, like Leclerc, so much potential. Like, in summary, I think all of it is, not all of it, a lot comes from like seeking the right people to help you grow. And I think Lewis has done that like 10-10, no notes.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're smart,
definitely see, you can definitely see his vision. You can see his vision, right? Like he is hitting all the correct, things. Like he's making it happen for himself. You don't really see a lot of effort being put by other people in the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're a driver and you're looking at Lewis, I feel like that's the roadmap right there, right? Like
literally,
he's just doing it. Even if you can't afford a stylist, I do think that makes a huge difference, honestly. Having the right stylist and pulling the right looks at the right time. But I just think if even you just looked at the like general sense of like, okay, how do I make every opportunity that somebody sees me, a moment to like build my brand, because they're not going to be drivers forever. They're not going to be athletes forever. You see Lewis now, he's almost 40. We don't know how many years we have left with him. Hopefully, many, but you see him starting to build out that portfolio, because it's like, I want to still do stuff when I'm not a driver, and I'm not always going to have 24 weekends a year to be out there front and center. Yeah. So it's the smartest thing you can do is build your personal brand.
He definitely doesn't want to be like Nico Rosberg.
Right. Oh, God. All I can think about is Nico's toes being out every weekend. No. Speaking of fashion, abolish the Air Max slides. Like, oh my God.
You just put that visual in my head. Now I won't be able to get it out.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. But speaking of Lewis and fashion and business, obviously, as we are speaking on it, to your point, Mario, you're mentioning, coming into different like business ventures, different like opportunities. Almave, I think that's just a smart move. He's a driver who races most of the year. He can't be drinking all the time and showing up to work with a hangover. So I think that's just like such a smart, move on his part. Part ownership of the Denver Broncos. We have the Plus 44 line, which I see both of you are rocking on our show today. So just like a ton of business ventures. Then you have him being inducted into the Business of Fashion 500, which is like the top like 100 most influential people. He's on the Forbes highest paid list, as somewhere in like the top 100 paid celebrities and highest paid athletes. So you kind of starting to see the fruits of all this, like this labor kind of, being built. Like this didn't just happen overnight. And I would say to the point of like, where you're talking, you start to see the switch of him starting to really pay attention and be involved in fashion, even though he was being ridiculed, even though people didn't get it. He did all of that because it was authentic to him, and kind of like, look at how that's paid off. And now that he's at this age and at the stage of his career, I would say he's becoming somehow even more famous than I even thought was possible.
He's at his most famous right now. No doubt.
Right. And no doubt. It's interesting because it's like, even somebody like Lewis Hamilton, who everybody pretty much knows who he is, but it's cool to see even still how much he's building this like foundation for something bigger, the movie that's coming out, soon, the production company. So yeah, I guess, Rashi, like, do you feel like fashion played a huge pivotal role in that? Do you feel like there were some other forces at work? What would you kind of attribute this to?
I think definitely there's a lot to attribute it to, because like you mentioned, right, he, from whatever I know, he has a very strong team that has been behind him since the start, right? Like even before, say 2020, when he was still new to, just attending a couple of fashion shows during Fashion Week, and he was the only Formula One presence in these fashion shows. So I think definitely whatever he's done, and his team who work with him, the stylists and everyone else, like they've really put their heart and soul into ensuring that he is where he needs to be. So I feel like there's a lot of factors it has to be attributed to, but like he mentions time and again, that fashion is one of the factors that's very important for him. So that's definitely played a role, right? So, and I also feel like his when Law Roach was his stylist, 2021 to 2022. I think that also gave him like a really huge visibility, because he got that Valentino campaign with Zendaya. That was huge. I feel like that was one of his like biggest moments in fashion. Like he of course he's had his Tommy Hilfiger collaboration, but then I mean that was his collaboration. Okay, it ended after a couple of collections, but that Valentino campaign was definitely huge. Like it definitely might have put him in front of the eyes of people who probably did not know who Lewis is or what Formula One is. And then, of course, that
Right.
Met Gala moment as well, where he bought his entire table,
Yes.
and then he,
Mhm.
invited young folks there to represent them. So I think definitely fashion has played a huge, huge role in his visibilities.
Yeah.
A lot, definitely. And in the recent times, those moments have been a lot. Like, I won't say it was as big before, say, 2020 or before 2019. It's definitely a recent phenomenon where fashion has definitely put him above the rest of the people. So this year alone, you'll see so many, these big fashion houses have created custom looks for him, right? Like, where do you see that happening, right? And it's been multiple times. It's not just like one look and it's over. It's been multiple times.
Right.
These fashion houses have created custom looks, and they wouldn't, like, of course, like all of us know, they wouldn't just create custom looks for somebody who has to just walk for like 2-3 minutes
Right.
and change to change to the next one.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not even flattering. Like that entire background of the paddock, he's like entering from all the random entrances. So for a brand to like create a custom outfit for such a setup, it's huge.
Yes.
So I feel like he's definitely made that name for himself. Everyone knows about him, which is why he's got all these opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it gives me the energy that at first Lewis and his team would reach out to designers, and now it's the other way around. I think because I think I two things that I've loved that have been said so far. Lewis Hamilton showing up and it being a moment. Yeah. He is that I've never, because Tasha and I were talking pre-show about, like, I was wording it like the value that a person being at an event provides. But forget that. The better way to say it is like, who in the paddock shows up somewhere and it's a moment. And I think that's something that, that's something that Lewis Hamilton is him and his team are specialists on, is like, he shows up in X place and it's everywhere. So I think that's something like that is, I think that's the best way I would label when he shows up somewhere, like a moment. Yeah. But as well, I think like so with that, he's made a freaking, just like Rashi said, a freaking 2-minute walk. He's turned that into a moment in which and he's turned it into such a moment that designers will come up to him and be like, please wear our stuff for 2 minutes in this hideous background while you walk to
like
change.
There are trash cans. Sometimes there are trash cans in the background. I'm like, what?
It's the high-low. It's the juxtaposition. Yeah.
Lewis, what are you wearing? Valentino. Is that a trash can behind you? Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. And still.
Exactly. And to be honest, like, the rest of the day at a race weekend, he's probably wearing his, of course, like his team t-shirt and whatever, like random stuff he's wearing. Sometimes he wears Puma sneakers or whatever, Tommy stuff. So he only has those 2-3 minutes while he's walking to do whatever the hell he wants to, right? Like, there's literally no other time, and he nailed that. Like, I just see the other racers. Probably, I mean, Joe has nailed it, right? Like, I love what he's doing.
Yes.
But then before Lewis, like, there was nobody who was taking advantage of this this duration that they have in a day. Where they go on about their day, they have to like do all their media duties, team stuff, but those 2-3 minutes is what you have, and he's made a great use out of it.
Almave is a perfect example of what you just said. He was promoting Almave during his media sessions that he has to be at, during the paddock walks that he has to do.
Right.
I was telling, and then I remember during the Vegas GP that he was caught sleeping. He was caught sleeping in a driver's meeting, and I'm like, this man gets paid to be anywhere and gets paid to sleep as well. Like, he said, figured
don't
it
let
out.
your day job get in the way of you finding your passions in life.
No. And you know how he does it. I mean, when you like, that's what it's all about, right? Like
Yeah.
he is putting in that time and effort and everything. Like he has that team who does it for him. It's not like everything is being done by his team. He's probably out there, like on he's mentioned, like he's on Zoom meetings or whatever in his downtime and having all these conversations with people around the world. So I mean, he's done it for himself, and he deserves every bit of recognition he's getting.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to talk Lewis fashion in 2023 in general, because I feel like something shifted this year. I feel like Eric, his stylist, and him have just like hit a stride, right? Like I feel like to the point where I'll be scrolling Twitter and I'll see something from a collection and I'm like, Lewis would look great in that. Like I'm tagging him and stuff that I'm like, you would look great in this. Like he has such
for
like
free,
a style.
Tasha? For free?
Listen, trying to just do my part for the fandom here. But as somebody, like I said, you've been archiving his looks, so you definitely know more than anybody, like kind of how his style has evolved. Do you sort of feel the same way that something is different this year? And again, if so, like what do you think are some of the elements that have made his style work so well this season?
I do. I'm completely aligned with what you said. Yeah. So I feel like even when he was wearing, say, I would compare the recent times, right? Like I wouldn't go to back in time because I feel like what he's wearing right now cannot be compared to that phase of his life. But say 2021 was when he actually started doing those paddock fashion walks in that dedicated manner. So some of the looks, when you look back, right, like you would feel like he's just there in the clothes. He's probably not him, and it was probably like Lewis wants to wear what he wants to wear, right? It's not like somebody's making him wear all of that. So, but he did in some of the outfits. He still felt like out of place, right? Like he's just made to wear one of the runway looks, and he's just there walking, whatever. But this year specifically, I feel like a lot of the choices were like for him, like, and if you see a lot of the looks are very sophisticated, very clean and very classy. For example, that both of the Wales Bonner outfits that he's worn, like one that he wore at the Fashion Awards and one that he wore at the Wales Bonner show earlier this year. So, I mean, to these looks, he's definitely wore similar stuff in the past, but he's never looked this good. And I feel like that Wales Bonner look that he wore at the show, it's probably the best he's ever looked. Like that is his best outfit ever, because it was styled so well, from his glasses to the jewelry he wore to the boots, everything. It was perfect. So I definitely exactly. So I definitely agree with you. I feel like him and Eric really go well together. And I keep telling him that don't stop whatever you're doing. You're doing such an amazing job. Everyone loves whatever you're doing. So yeah, I mean, he did say that he was really happy. He's always so happy to hear this feedback, because I just see everyone goes crazy on a couple of these outfits. So I always tell him that this is amazing. Like you're doing Lord's work.
And when you say him, so you're talking about Eric. So that's that's so cool. So you basically you have been able to connect with Eric, I guess, multiple times to be able to give him. That's so cool. I'm glad that they are knowing that they are getting their flowers. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sometimes, again, like I mentioned, right? Sometimes it's so hard to search for what he's wearing, because it's not available on the internet anywhere for me to like take a reference and post about it, right? So
that's what I was asking earlier. Is like how you get your pictures.
Yeah. Oh, those photos. Yeah. I mean, so of course there are a lot of these websites that you can search a lot of these products on. So say something like Essence or Farfetch, you have like this entire catalog of stuff you can search from. So, and of course, in general, I do keep a tab on all these new collections. So my go-to is Vogue.com and all of these, other sources that post about all the latest collections. And the fact that he wears a lot of the latest stuff. So that's how I keep, that's how I know like what he's wearing. So that is one way that I get it. But sometimes, of course, like the custom looks, I cannot really find anything out there. So I always have to read. And the most common issue that I have is when he's wearing like some random black pants. There are a million black pants on the internet. Like there's no way for me to find what he's wearing. So that's where I reach out to him and ask like tell me what he's wearing, because I am helpless out here. So he's he's been really, really supportive that way. Like he loves it. Like he loves knowing that whatever he's doing is being appreciated by so many people. So yeah,
he should see my timeline.
Work, yeah.
He should see my timeline. I'm not even knee deep in it, and my timeline is all Lewis Hamilton appreciation.
Absolutely. Whenever he's in the paddock, I'll post like the same outfit 4 times. Be like, oh, this angle's more zoomed in. This is the left side. Like, you know what I mean?
Literally.
For like
that's what I do.
Minutes,
that's what I do. Like I need every angle of every outfit that he's wearing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much. He's like a doll. Like, I think to me, he just reminds me of like a doll, like somebody who gets.
How is he
all
not?
These
he should be a Ken.
Accessories. Or Ken. Oh, Ken's a doll. G.I. Joes are dolls. You know, it's just a general gender neutral term.
Like he should be the Ken. The next Ken.
He should have been in Barbie, actually.
He should have been in Barbie.
Yeah.
Definitely. A perfect Ken. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, no, Tasha, perfect segue.
Yeah.
He should have been in Barbie. Tasha, Rashi, what is one thing or one brand, one market, anything like that Lewis hasn't tapped into or maybe not participated in much that you would like to see him in?
Oh,
I think skincare. Is something. I mean,
I said this before. Tasha, we talked about this months ago, and that was your answer too.
What?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Please. Yeah.
I think he did something very briefly with L'Oreal when he was in McLaren. Like he was their L'Oreal men's ambassador for a while, but then it was just like it came and it went away. But he should definitely come out with his own brand, because I feel like there's a huge market right now, for this business vertical, and he should. I'm surprised he tapped into Almawe first before, going into skincare and a lot of those things. So he should probably do that next.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say skincare, fragrance. I would love to see.
Exactly. Yes.
Because I just, he just looks like somebody who smells good and has like really good taste. So I think that would be great. But I actually would also like to see him do like a lifestyle brand similar to like a Goop sort of situation. Or Poosh, something like where he's.
I don't know what that is.
So basically, it's like Gwyneth Paltrow. So Goop is by Gwyneth Paltrow. It started out as like a newsletter that she would like just send.
Gwyneth Paltrow,
audience.
the same one that sold the candles that smelled like.
Yes, and that's where yes. So because she's an influencer, right, to her audience. People wanted to know what she was wearing, what was she into, what was she cooking. So she created a newsletter to start with, and then evolved into this big conglomerate brand where they sell skincare and wellness products and vitamins and all that stuff. And I guess that's kind of where I could see somebody like Lewis, because there's so many different facets of his life that I think people would find interesting. Wellness is huge in his life, his diet, being plant-based. He always has supplements that he's telling us about. He tells us about how he sleeps well and the fun stuff that he does to decompress. So I can just see him having like a lifestyle, like an all-encompassing kind of lifestyle brand where he just helps people in general, but like maybe more geared toward men who just sort of like want to figure out how they can like live a little bit more like Lewis or get more of his essence. So that would be my answer. I want to see a full broad lifestyle brand from Lewis.
You never know. He might just be working on that as we speak.
You never know. Yeah. He's always working on something. Yeah.
Both of you answered a new venture, not a collaboration. I like that. Like something that
Oh yeah.
No. And I mean that positively. Like, because like that's what you want.
Bigger. Yeah.
Exactly.
To be
Is there
honest,
a brand?
if he does a collaboration, it will probably be like maybe with one of the sponsors or whatever. Like it will be much better if he just comes out with something of his own, which is going to be good.
Yeah. So something I noticed this year with Louis styling was lots of little micro trends kind of emerged. Like, again, going back to like the feeling of that, I feel like they kind of hit a stride. There were certain things that I felt like we saw repeating a lot. Tim's definitely being one of them. Interesting jewelry. Did you personally have like a favorite thing that you kind of saw on him a lot this season? And Mario, I guess I would ask you too, like, was there anything like interesting that you saw him kind of always having on that you were like, yeah, I like that?
Rashi, please.
I think personally, I love the jewelry that he wears, right? You don't see a lot of, I mean, you do see a lot of men wearing pearls, but the way, like, it's part of his life. Like, he usually wears a lot of these pearls, necklaces, and a lot of these sapphire chains that I don't really see a lot of men wear very often. Like, they would wear it on special occasions, but he is always wearing something, right? Like, that's what I really like about him. Because, like, you wear something on your neck or whatever on your ears, and it changes your entire look. Right.
Absolutely.
So it's so important to accessorize it well, which I think he understands, because I feel like a lot of the jewelry that he wears, it's his own like personal stuff. And he probably just decides, okay, I need to wear this with, this outfit. This looks good, whatever. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I don't feel like Eric probably, every time he guides him that wear this chain or wear that chain. Maybe Louis has his own, mind when it comes to jewelry. So he's wearing what he wants to wear. So I feel like that is something that I really love. Like, I love every outfit that he wears generally. But the jewelry really, I think, stands out.
Yeah. What about you, Mario?
No answer, but just to say, no, Rashi, I think even if he's being told what to wear every time, like the relationship of him knowing that he understands what I like, he understands what my brand is, how I like to look, how I like to feel, like what materials I like. So like it's not that I'm being told what to wear, it's that someone who understands how I dress, how I like to dress, how I like to look, etc., is choosing like what to wear. So even if he doesn't have a large part in the process of dressing, like I'm sure that he has, like it's him, like it's his like essence.
I agree. I don't think he would wear anything that he doesn't want to. He does it because like he thinks he should do it. Like it would look good on him. He understands like his style very well, I feel.
Yeah. I think, I agree with that. Like he's very, and I think that what I like is that he's very open to things, trying new things. I think my favorite thing this season was, like you, jewelry, but seeing the incorporation of like brooches. Like speaking of stuff that you really never see men wear, like to have a brooch on, the diamond piece that he wore at the FIA prize giving gala that looked like a tie, but it was like a diamond.
So
like, it was
so freaking figure out what he was wearing. It was only when the brand posted themselves, I was like, holy shit. And then I went to the website and saw it was like 1 million diamonds.
It's like $1 million.
Yeah.
Like that to me, I was just like that, the playfulness with the accessories, the grills, that was like so much fun, I think, to see more of that. Like I like the selection of jewels that he was going, finding different types of gems or like irregular pearls, just things that were a little bit more interesting, not so cookie cutter, and like evolving his style, but like in very like subtle ways. So that was, I think, for me, and maybe also the cutoff vest, because I feel like I love the arms. The arms were arming this season.
I recently did this entire story poll on like which arms is looking the best, and folks are DMing me that we're gonna vote for like the most skin that's there on his body. I'm like, what is wrong with you guys?
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
They were showing a lot of skin this year. You also had the that triangle cutout sweater that he wore with the hood.
I was gonna say he brought cleavage.
Yeah, exactly.
He brought cleavage into the game. Like, that's crazy.
Multiple occasions this year. He's never done that before. I think this year was like a lot.
Yeah. I love that. I was like, what is going on? We're seeing lots of skin this year. What were you gonna say, Mario?
I want to know, since I didn't do my job and not answer the question, I'm going to ask one instead.
Okay.
You can give me a whole fit or part of a fit. What did you see Lewis Hamilton wear this year that you think you would look great wearing? Either a whole fit or a part of it, or you really, really want it? Any fit or any part of a fit.
Do you want to go first, Rashi?
I just might. I mean, there's a lot that I require from his closet, probably. I'm just scrolling through my page and figure. I feel like I really loved the LV jacket that he wore when he attended the Pharrell and LV show.
Oh yeah,
in Paris. I think I really like that jacket. And I think that was a custom made jacket as well. And I feel like that's what I would probably steal from his closet if given the chance.
What was that brand? The brand again?
It was Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton.
Didn't someone from Louis Vuitton comment on him? It was in Vegas. Someone commented about a jacket. Never mind. About a jacket he had. But I might be confusing jackets. The one that had like his years, the years that he's won on the sleeve.
Probably not.
One.
Do you mean? Oh yeah. You mean the sleeveless one? The one that he was showing his arms?
No. Never mind. It's fine. I'll bring it up later. But it was one that was custom made by one of the most popular designers, and it was in Vegas, and it had the years of his victories of his championships on the sleeve.
That was Versace.
And Versace commented, Versace made a comment about like Lewis Hamilton being the perfect like embodiment of Versace or some shit.
That was Donatella. That was Donatella.
I was like, stop it, dude. You already have the jacket. We don't need the post as well.
No, I love that fit. Completely forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, those two jackets.
I'm so glad I saved myself from that. Oh, God.
I would love those two jackets. Definitely. I mean, that's huge. Versace even like created that for him. Like, that's huge. I mean, it was not only custom, but it was literally personalized with all of the wins that he's had. So huge.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane.
Tasha, fit or piece?
A fit that I actually really like that I don't know why I didn't pay too much attention to at the time, but like in retrospect, like I would wear this entire outfit with just different shoes. But it's the one he wore to Abu Dhabi. It's just like a leather top with like camo cargo pants, like big cargo pants.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised to know how many people did not actually like what he was wearing. And I was shocked.
The full red one?
I love that
it's look. Black leather top, and it's like they're camo cargo pants. And I would just wear, that's like my colorway. Lewis's like closet, kind of like you, Rashi, like if I could rate any celebrity's closet, it would be his. Between the jewelry, the different accessories, the like different like pants, I would have a ball. All the knitwear, like all of his sweaters and stuff, like I'm stealing all of them, every single one, because they all look so soft and cozy. So yeah, I think, but like as an outfit that I really would wear, I would style it a little bit differently for me. But yeah, the black leather top, the camo cargo pants, and some like cool shoes, cute purse.
I love that one a lot. I was like, why don't people like it? Like it's a really good look.
You can't. Everybody doesn't have. They don't see the vision. Everybody doesn't see the vision.
Exactly.
On that kind of note, though, I was kind of wondering, what's one piece that you would like to see Lewis start incorporating, or type of product that you would like to see Lewis incorporate into Lewis Hamilton Fashion Week?
I think he should just probably. I mean, I really liked what he did with his Mave bottle. He should just get more of
Shameless.
his
with different stuff.
Shameless. And I mean that with all due respect.
I mean, it didn't work because everybody was like, "Okay, I want a bottle."
I mean that with all due respect, like it worked.
I was gonna say one thing I would love to see him dabble in is handbags. Like I'm really loving men wearing Birkins and Speedies, and like I just think he would rock the hell out of a bag.
Over the top, and I agree. I mean, I think I don't know who it was I was speaking to, but I thought he should have incorporated like some, that Louis look where, the Pharrell's show where they had like really cool crossbody bags and those speedy bags.
The speedy bag, yes.
He should have got one
taken
of those
it all the way. Yes.
Yeah. He should have got one of those. Like it would have been really cool to see.
Yeah. Especially like all the cute colors. What about you, Mario? Do you have a
he can just show up with his Remova luggage bag. Right. I mean, if anybody's capable of doing something like that, it's him.
It's him, yeah. I looked up the cost of the little one from the campaign. I was like, oh, how much is the crossbody? That's like 4 inches wide and 6 inches long. And I was like, oh, how much? $1,200. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would actually be really cool. And that reminds me, I'll probably just ask Eric to do something like that for him because everyone wants to see it.
Yes, I would like to see it. I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
For the people.
Yeah, exactly.
Just once, please. Just one time. Yeah.
The one question I would answer that I don't know how to answer is like, I would wear a lot of, like, if I could have a lot of like copy paste of his fits.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, my favorite thing is like color matching.
Yes.
Like that. Like I have a lot of things like that. So whenever he did stuff like that, it was crazy. The most recent example I have that I would wear is, and that's why I mentioned the red one. Mm-hmm. Because damn, it's also from Vegas. I'm such a I don't know. Never mind. But like the whole red suit that had like not a turtleneck, but like the neck went up to here or something. Yeah. I'd wear that every day.
That was again a custom vegan leather.
I'd wear that every day. I would wear that every day.
Which is insane.
And I don't love leather like that, but I would if it's that.
Yeah.
Like that was so sick.
It's really sick.
Yeah, go ahead, Tasha.
I was gonna say I have just a couple more questions, but you can go if you have one.
No,
I've talked a lot. Okay. So my
with good reason. It's a good. That's why it's a good episode. That's how you make a good episode. You talk a lot. I talk less.
Think about it's like Lewis Hamilton and like coffee, and that's it. So actually on this note, what is like a future fashion-based collab that you would want to see Lewis partake in?
That's interesting. I think exactly what comes to my mind every time. I want to see him one of the faces for Louis. Like I feel like he probably does have like a good relationship with the brand at this point because he's worn Louis a lot in the last 2 years. I feel like something what he did with Valentino, right? I think that was very short-lived. But I want to see him as the face of one of these brands, but specifically Louis with some, maybe it could be a fragrance or menswear. Like a prominent face of one of these big brands because I feel like he's just so close to just putting himself on these big huge billboards. He's always there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, so might as well have another one of these brands show his face everywhere.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mario, do you have an idea for what you might want to see from him?
It's not gonna happen because Puma's so knee deep in that. But getting a custom sneaker with Nike, like a whole ass bat, like that would be. I would be first in line to buy that.
Yeah,
first in line.
Yeah, I agree. What I would love to see from him in terms of a collaboration actually was with Timberland, just because of the frequency that he wears these boots. But I would like to see him help design or develop like a vegan leather nubuck situation. Just because I feel like obviously he's plant-based and vegan, and I know it's kind of hard to find options for him that aren't leather or animal-based. But I just think because that's such a prominent shoe for him that he wears, throughout the paddock, like something vegan leather. And I think a lot about like
that's actually interesting because he's worn the Timberland and Off-White collaboration boots as well. Like that's such an old collaboration. Like I don't remember the year it was launched, but it was quite a few years back, and he still wears them. So he definitely he definitely loves them. And maybe, who knows, maybe he's wearing all of that to hint a collaboration. Like you never know with him. So
I know. I'm like, I need to see him. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely, I mean, definitely he seems to be loving wearing those all the time. So it would be amazing to see that collaboration.
I think it would be so cool, especially just to do something like with the technology and fashion now with so many vegan, non-animal based leathers and fabrics and stuff like that, just to see something along those lines from him, just it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Exactly.
So my last question for this is, can you, in one word or a few words, kind of summarize Lewis's style to you?
It is limitless. I think there's so many words coming in my head, but I think the one that describes it is like fearless and limitless, like these two words, because I feel like he's just not restricted to anything, right? Like we've seen so much at this point. He's not afraid of wearing pink, right? Like because this was this entire taboo of men wearing pink, he's I mean, it's just like one example. Like he's not afraid of wearing anything. He's worn kilts, he's worn all sorts of things, right? And he rocks it. Like there's hardly a moment where it feels like he's out of place when he's wearing an outfit. He always almost like fits into whatever he's wearing, be it like boots, sneakers, whatever his outfit is. So I think he's definitely like fearless, and he never restricts himself. So I think that's in a way like it's inspiring, right? Like whatever you're wearing, it defines so much of your personality at times. So I mean, do whatever the hell you want. Like fashion should not be coming with like rules. You cannot wear this, you cannot wear that, you cannot wear heeled boots. I mean, he wore that at
those boots.
So I think that definitely describes him the best.
Yeah, I agree. Mario?
No, I really like that answer because you can really tell when the guys come out when you have him wearing that half kilt that he wore.
Yeah.
Yo, that was the first thing. That was the first time ever that I looked for a price on something that Lewis Hamilton, because that was the first time ever I said that's crazy. Like if I don't own that, I fucked up. And that was the first time, because I was like, you thought kilts got people mad?
Yeah,
man has half a kilt. So that's really when you see like, because I grew up in a time where like, you can't wear pink, you're a guy. But like, that is how I grew up. Like you would 100%, like I would get bullied today wearing, like back then wearing this. And it's like, this like girls wear this, boys wear this. It's like, it's a big part of your personality. Like, and seeing Lewis just do him, like there's things that I would never wear that Lewis wears, but like, it's never coming from a, oh my God, I can't believe he wore that. Like, like the way that he wears whatever. And he's worked it out so well to what Rashi said, that like he never looks out of place.
Right.
Like you never look at him and you're like, what a clown, or like what is he like? He always like, that's just so embedded in his brand and everything, that like I have a ton of respect for that, and I really like that. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a single color he's not worn at this point.
Right.
And I mean, I always repeat this one moment that I have with me. I never wore like, these colored sneakers. I always went for like black or white generally.
Right.
So I mean, you've seen Louis wear all colors of the boots and the sneakers.
Yes.
So I bought one of the green, like bright green sneakers. I was like, I cannot believe I am like wearing that and buying that. So I mean, imagine, and like Mario mentioned, right? Like he's also been inspired at some level from what he's wearing. So imagine how many people globally have been inspired just by seeing Louis wear something. So I mean, that's the impact he's had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my word would be like cathartic. I watched somebody like Louis for basically exactly the same reasons as both of you. One, just kind of seeing him, what's the word I'm looking for? The way that he's able to kind of just hit for the fences, sort of with the way he dresses, is very experimental, but it's also very personal to him. That to me, I'm just like, that is so satisfying to see somebody be able to just do what they want to do. The way that he's able to kind of get around this hyper masculine culture that we're in, like you said, wearing not only like different colors, but different cuts. Like we're getting deep V's down to the belly button. We're getting heeled boots, like you said.
Changing the cleavage game. Changing the cleavage game.
Like, and
exactly.
It's so inspirational because it's like, he definitely could do that thing where, he doesn't want to experiment. He has a certain look, but he's very transformative. Like he absolutely will try new things and wear new things, but it's the confidence that he wears it with that I think is so impressive. And then it's the authenticity. Like, I think that's really what sells all of it. Like at the end of the day, it's just a person who's enjoying this journey of fashion and where it's taking him, being able to be a culture shifter. I feel like, looking back at his clothes, like I said, I was on your page, like looking at 2018, some of the years prior, and I would describe him as very trendy. And now I describe him as somebody who sets trends. Like he's very influential in that way. So it's been interesting seeing his like ascension to somebody who's, I think, going to become very like iconic over the years, just because of the way that he carries himself and no matter, whatever he's wearing. So yeah, my word is cathartic because I just feel like so much like release watching him walk through the paddock in like full sequence on a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just something very like satisfying and gratifying in that for me. So yeah.
I think it makes me sad. Like none of us want him to leave. That's what makes me sad because we're going to be missing out on these moments. Of course, we're going to miss him race on the track, but we're going to miss out on all of these moments.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of moments, I wanted to end this with some of our favorite actual outfits from the year. There's so many and it's hard to even just pick, but I wanted to kind of know some of your top, like, let's say 3, if you have 3, unexpected moments. Like, what are the moments that you were like, I was not expecting that, and it kind of blew you away, good or bad?
Okay, I think the very first one was that sequined Rick Owens jumpsuit that he wore in Miami, the purple one. I loved it. I of course, it got all the hate. Obviously, it's Louis. He's always going to be hated on. But I loved it. I felt like, I don't know who else can actually rock it other than Louis. Like he rocked that. I mean, that was a huge like moment, and I wasn't expecting him to show up wearing
full sequence.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have sounded a little crazy if you would have been like, "Today's the day, full sequence. Today's the day."
No, I mean that was insane. That was crazy. And then I think the next one would be the one that he wore in Vegas, the first one where it was a Valentino outfit, I think, where he was wearing like a long coat on the very first day. So I didn't expect, like I was expecting him to be something like Miami,
Flashy.
like very flashy, glittery. But yeah, I loved the vibe, the entire vibe he was going for on the very first day. So that was again like one huge moment. And then what would be the third one? I'm just scrolling through my page. Oh yeah, it is the Ayrton Senna tribute outfit that he wore.
Oh yeah,
in Brazil.
Yes.
Because I think definitely, I mean, it shows like he really put that thought into. I mean, him and Eric put that thought into how that outfit would look like. And he looked great. He looked great. Like I think the jacket, what he was wearing wasn't like conventional. It was a little, fancy, and it was looking so good. So I wasn't expecting him to actually show up with like a tribute outfit, but that was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, Mario, do you have any faves? Unexpected looks?
The all red one was unexpected in a good way. Does the Burberry suit tracksuit that he wore
at the FIA
like that was
that
was very unexpected, and it was iconic to then change to then reveal that he had a whole ass. Like a whole
it was like a mini Lewis Hamilton fashion week in one day, basically. Outfit change,
iconic. So I'm gonna say those two. The Valentino, like unexpected because it's so like the pictures that they released were just so cool. Yeah, like unexpected just because of how freaking cool it was or is. But those are three. What about you?
So my three are the silk Rick Owens that he wore at the Dutch GP. Unexpected number one because it's silk and it's raining and cold. And that's my one question. I think if I asked Eric, I would love to know, like, do you guys even care about the weather? Because he'll wear like
the weather cares about him
in Miami, silk, and he doesn't care. So I love I love that look, that like tunic with the long pants. And I just felt like he just looked so like good. The deep V. It was just like a great look. I also, like you, Mario, loved the Dior by Kim Jones look, that half skirt, like the whole monochrome tan. It was so sick.
Sick.
The combat boots.
That color was so insane. I love the color.
Love the color. And then an unexpected look for me, just based off of the year being kind of like matchy, was at the Mexico GP for when he came through the paddock with the clashing camo with the Almave bottle. Like, to me, I was just like, I fucking love this outfit. Like, this is so, because it was so casual, but it was, as always, very cool.
And he was wearing that bucket hat,
bucket hat with the fringe.
Which the outfit.
So good. So then I want to know, what are your top 3 red carpet / event looks? And this could be any event because he went to many.
Definitely it is. It has to be both of the Wales bonnet looks that he wore, the one that he wore recently, and that he wore at their show. Like I just cannot, like, I'm trying so hard to get over that look that he wore at their show, but I'm not able to. Like, it's literally his best look ever.
You stayed there. Everybody else moved on. You stayed there.
I have not
I'm with
moved
you, girl.
I'm never going to move on from that moment, I feel.
Me either.
And then I think the next one would be the last one. Probably, I mean, I'm throwing it back to like really early in the year, but it has to be one of the Bottega outfits that he was wearing, and he was wearing this Tiffany brooch again. Like it looked so good. He wore it with the all monochrome outfit, and that brooch just like won my heart. So I feel like these 3 moments were really, really good.
Yeah. Mario, anything for you? Any faves?
honestly, for this specific category, the ones that he used recently were my favorites. And were my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine, like you, Rashi, is the cream Wells Bonner, but it was the first one specifically. I like the fabric more and the fit more of that first one. The brown sunglasses, just like, oh, chef's kiss. And then the brooch with the like natural organic pearls and the gems. Like, I just think the styling on that was just like impeccable. I like the LV Kid Super outfit with the like the LV monochromatic. Why am I saying this? So like monogram. Oh my god. That was like jeweled, so it was like sparkling. He went to the I think plus 44 pop up. In that, and then also the paddock, but yeah, it just looks so good, sparkling in the sun. And then I think my third one is the Valentino that he wore for the opening ceremony at the Vegas GP. I just love the long line coat with the like flower. I don't know if it's an applique or what, but that like little flower detail on the lapel just like was so good and so clean and simple. And like, that was my like favorite 3 of those looks. You could give us something you're going to say.
I think it's crazy because all of us have so many different looks. Like it's really so hard to just pick top
narrow
3.
it down.
What is an applique?
What is an applique? Oh my! It's. I mean, you kind of have a couple on your jacket. It's this that like
a patch,
exactly.
Like a patch, like a 3D kind of thing that you sew on or iron on to a garment. So yeah.
Okay.
So my last category to end this up is the just in general your top 3 Lewis Hamilton Fashion Week paddock looks.
The paddock looks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very difficult question. I'm probably going to pick what I probably didn't pick so far because I do not want to repeat myself. But to be honest, I would just pick all the Zegna outfits he wore because he just looked so good in all of them. I think some of them, like one of them was the yellow one that he wore. I can't recall what race it was. And then at 2 occasions he wore that beige and brown outfits. And I think one of them was even custom. So I feel like just pick all of those Zegna outfits as the top 3 because I loved them. And then maybe alternatively, it could be all of the Rick Owens ones that he wore because
he wore so
crazy.
many. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any for you, Mario?
I mentioned it, but the Vegas one where he's in full red is one of my favorites. And then I think this one isn't from this season, but he wore, and maybe it is, but he wore full green, kind of like tech suit almost in Brazil. Day 1 of Brazil. And it's all like lime green. Maybe lime isn't the right color, but it's all
that bright highlighter color.
Bottega. It's sick. And I really like that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Tasha, bring us home with the with like what's up?
I feel like
love that highlighter color.
And it works so well for him. Like I don't know how many other people can pull off like a highlighter yellow or like a neon yellow, but it looks like a neutral on him, which I'm like, that is so cool because it would not look like that on me. My top 3 just paddock looks. I really like how like kind of cozy he looked in this one. It was from the Bahrain GP. It was the Zegna look, the all red look that he had on. Just the texture of it just looks so like
first one.
Cozy. Yeah, the very first fit of the season. The blue pleated Issey Miyake set that he wore in the Japan GP with the Dior sneakers and like the blonde ponytail. Was like, this is great. Arms out. That's amazing. And then like the customized the Senna tribute outfit for Brazil. Like that was probably my favorite look just because it was so unique. The airbrushing on it I thought was really cool. The airbrushing that he had, I think, on his Timbs as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think he also had like some design on his Timbs. So yeah, it's just like it just seemed like a really fun just look, and I just loved how well he wore it. So yeah, that's my top 3.
I think that is so hard. I mean, I literally cannot pick.
It's too many looks.
It's so trying to make you choose children.
This is a testament to how strongly he was styled this year for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that was it. Mario.
All right.
We did it.
Well, we've done it. We've officially, hopefully, secured a good episode with a guest. Rashi, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence.
I love talking
thank you guys.
to you.
It's this is absolutely one of my most favorite topics to speak about any time of the day. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak about it.
I knew immediately. I was like,
Absolutely.
I need to talk to Rashi. Like, she's the one, and like you're it. You're the ones for real. Like, I just love talking to you about this. So I'm glad that you're as passionate about this as I am, because it fangirl a little bit and get to like really analyze and dissect what's actually happening. So yeah, thank you for coming on.
You can find Rashi on Instagram at amazing. So that's amazing with an H, Lou.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Rashi, if you are embarrassed by that name, you're fine, girl. The type of names boys were making up while they were playing Halo were like the most cringe, and so don't worry about it. Amazing Lou is a great name. It's a great name.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll be around. Tasha and I will be around during the week. We've got some other episodes. Rashi, you're welcome to come whenever you want. To everybody listening on YouTube, thank you. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what your favorite fits were, what you would pull off, what you maybe thought wasn't his best fit. I also just want to give an honorable mention before I go to the Denver Broncos fit the other day, because how do you go to a NFL game and even for that you're like next level flexing?
You're eating every single time.
He was wearing like vintage stuff.
It's crazy. He looks so freaking no. Anyway, thank you to everybody. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave your 5-star reviews. If you write any haikus, we'll read them. If you write any funny reviews, we'll read them. Mom and Dad are going to be away for a while, so Tasha and I are going to be holding it down. But with that all said, I've been Mario. You can find me at Mario_APM on Twitter and Instagram. Tasha, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Tasha and Instagram at Tasha as well.
All right. Well, once again, Rashi, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone watching and listening. Tasha, take us away, please.
Yes. Guys, thank you again for listening. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. We really enjoyed doing this. This was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again, for real. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, please remember, no matter what happens in life, keep it on the black stuff. Bye.
Bye.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quicks Up F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.